Thanks for your video response, Josh. I can't help but read Gary Snyder's poem that you posted in the sidebar of your of your video response. Revolution in the Revolution in the Revolution by Gary Snyder, the poet of deep ecology. The country surrounds the city. The backcountry surrounds the country. From the masses to the masses, the most revolutionary consciousness is to be found among the most ruthlessly exploited classes. Animals, trees, water, air, grasses. We must pass through the stage of the dictatorship of the unconscious before we can hope for the withering away of the states and finally arrive at true communionism. If the capitalists and imperialists are the exploiters, the masses are the workers, and the party is the communist. If civilization is the exploiter, the masses is nature, and the party is the poets. If the abstract rational intellect is the exploiter, the masses is the unconscious, and the party is the yogins, and power comes out of the seed syllables of mantras. That last line really changes the whole tone of the poem. And I love the way it does, because it seems to me that the only legitimate revolt against the capitalist industrialist civilization is a spiritual revolt, or an ontological revolt. That is, we have to be able to look at our own unconscious, and when Marx was critiquing capitalism and pointing to the way that commodities become fetishized, and people assign abstract value to certain objects which are exchanged socially, and that value becomes so unconsciously accepted that the true social relationships required to continue producing that value are ignored. And so because of that, many things follow, one of which is that workers, the masses, are alienated from their labor. They're willing to sell their time to owners of corporations who are making a profit off of that labor. And so somehow the worker is not worth as much as what they're putting into this larger corporate body, because that larger corporate body is benefiting the owners more than it's benefiting the workers. So labor becomes alienated because of the way that we fetishize the money that we are paid for the labor that we give. We're led to believe the money is actually worth the labor we're putting in, when the only reason the corporation continues to function is because it is stealing from us, and from those who are buying this corporation's products. There's theft both from the laborer and from the consumer. Now, we all know the easy response of capitalists to this, that nature is somehow a human nature, and nature is, they're both fundamentally driven by selfish ends, and that to expect anything but capitalism is to have or holds a too utopian and too idealistic a view of human nature. And I'm going to link to a paper in the description that I wrote as a critique of mechanistic biology and Darwinian, neo-Darwinian biology, at least. because I feel like this this approach to understanding life and describing life has led the mass imagination to assume that capitalism is just continuing the natural course of evolution, and that therefore we shouldn't expect anything else. I critique mechanistic biology in order to show that, in fact, it is an inadequate description of nature, because it doesn't allow us to account for our own human consciousness. And then I go on to argue that it is our coming to consciousness of ourselves that is going to allow us to come to terms with the ecological crisis and the social crisis that we are in the middle of. We haven't really woken up yet to the moral significance of the fact that we all share a single planet. Because economically, we are already globalized. In terms of energy usage, we are already globalized. It's just that on a level of identity, we're still divided. There's still religious quarrels and ideological quarrels and political disagreements. Not just disagreements, but failures to communicate. That seems to be our biggest dilemma: the failure to communicate and the failure to recognize the planetary extent of our situation. Well, you recommended a book, Josh. I wanted to recommend one as well. The paper that I'm going to link to was heavily influenced by this book. It's by Alf Hornberg. It's called The Power of the Machine: Global Inequities of Economy, Technology, and Environment. Just to give you a little sample here, on 158, I believe, he sums up the whole argument of the book. Oh, maybe it's not there. Hold on. Here it is. He says, the technological benefits of industrial society cannot be generalized for the total population of the earth, because the very constitution of these technologies relies on unequal exchange between different sectors of that population. So in other words, the only reason we have automobiles is because we were able to procure the oil that fuels them through unequal relations with societies on the other side of the planet. We militarily secure it, or through economic exploitation secure it, and therefore the technology that we take for granted, the automobile, is able to run. And Hornberg also argues very effectively, I think, that it's really general purpose money that allows us to so distance ourselves from the social relations that support our economy and our machines, that we forget that to use an automobile, we have to exploit the labor of human beings and exploit the resources of the earth. Economics is a zero-sum game. So if your lifestyle is especially luxurious, it's that luxury is coming at the expense of somebody else. It's that equation that I think is going to be hard for a lot of Western, especially a lot of American people to accept, because we've been living so beyond our means for several generations now. So I'm approaching 10 minutes. I guess I'll leave it at that. I hope you check out this book by Alf Hornberg, and thank you for your response, Josh. Some really interesting thoughts there, and I hope we can continue this discussion on eco-phenomenology and radical ontology, because, as I said, I think the only effective revolt against industrial capitalism is a spiritual revolt, and the spiritual or the sacred is that which can't be bought or sold, which can't have a monetary value placed on it. It can't be commoditized. We've got to fight for those kinds of values, because anything else can be subsumed by the capitalist system. It's so effective at turning revolts against it into more fuel for the fire. And I think a genuine ontological uncovering of our own roots in the earth, in the universe itself, and discovering again our connection to this living universe is the most effective way to overcome the illusion that the sort of mechanistic industrial worldview has produced. So, thanks for listening. Let me know what you think.